Welcome shooters and collectors. Today we're going to be taking a look at the German Sig Sauer 226 X5 series of pistols. The one in front of you is the open pistol, and is pretty much given away by the front compensator. And so that's where we're going to begin our review of these pistols. The open pistol does have a compensator. It seems to be bolted on pretty good. It's got one screw here on this side, and then it looks like two on the top, and then possibly, I believe there's two set screws that go into here that push against these. And it works extremely well. There's very little muzzle flip, and the pistol really stays on target when you're shooting. When you're looking through the aim point, you just really stay on target. It works really well, and I really like it. The noise also isn't so bad as compared for some reason to say a Vector SP1 that has a comp on it. That gun seems a lot louder for some reason. I don't know why, but it does than this one. The next thing we'll take a look at is the front sight right here. Show you that. And it is pretty much ornamental, because if you have a red dot on it, that's probably all you'll ever use on one of these pistols once you get a red dot on it, because it does so great with them. Like I said, you do have the front sight, and on this gun here, the rear sight is fixed. It doesn't do anything. There is a bit of you can see a little bit of rear sight, and you can see the front sight through the mount there. But it just is something you'll probably never use. You can't adjust this any which way, up, down, left, or right. It's just pretty much fixed. The next thing we'll take a look at, and it's kind of interesting when comparing it to a different pistol, and that's the barrel here. And I don't know if this is something that the Mastershop did, or they used to do and then they stopped doing it. But on the barrel here, if you take a look at it, you'll see some marks. And this first mark right here, the barrel actually gets a little bit thicker right here, and I don't know if they just fitted the barrel to the slide with this, because if you look at another X5, this one here, the barrel is the same dimension throughout. So yeah, I just don't know if that's something that they did or not. If anybody knows, please leave a comment. Another thing I like to point out, you can't see it on this one because of the comp, but the crowning on this one is really nice. They put they do an excellent job on the crowning on these pistols. It's just you don't see that. You do see it on nicer end pistols, but you don't see it very often. And also another thing to point out, the front sight on this one has the fiber optic, obviously. And to get these fiber optics, I believe you have to order them from Germany. You can't get them here in the States. If you do find like an X-Series with a front fiber optic on it, that's a bonus. It really is. It works really nice. It shows up well. Lots of light goes to it. Next thing I like to talk about is the X mount, and I love it actually. I'm not going to say I like it. I love it. I know everybody has pretty much gone to a plate in the back with a red dot on it, but the X mount, this is probably the finest bridge mount made by a major manufacturer, a pistol manufacturer, and I really kind of wish other pistol manufacturers would do it, but of course that's probably never going to happen because everybody just went back to the plate on the slide system, which does work really good and is far more cost effective, because these bridge mounts are extremely expensive, and I think they retail for about, gosh, maybe 350 euros or up. Maybe they're more like 500. I really don't recall. They do, and it also depends on what plate you get, because you can order it with 3 plates, 2 plates, or 1 plate. And the plates are specific for the type of red dot that you have. This one, of course, is for a T1, or it also fits the Sig Romeo, which is pretty much a copy of a T1, or an H1, excuse me, an H1. This is an H1. And here's another mount that has the Sig red dot on it, which actually I kind of like this quite a bit. It works well, and it gives you a really nice view coming through here. It's nice and wide, and I thought it was a little bit cheesy, you know, comparing it to like a Trigicon RMR, but it works really good. It's performed. It hasn't shut off and done any of those little annoying things you read so much about, and I really like it. I will go ahead and take this off. Like I said, I really love the design on it. To take this off, it's very easy. All you do is there's one screw here, and you just put a hex key in it, and you unscrew it, and it works great. I did notice there's a couple of little, one interesting thing about the X mount, comparing them. This must be an older one here. It doesn't have the logo on it, but everything else is pretty much the same, except for these screw holes here. And these screw holes are threaded, and they're on both sides. And of course here they're two different places, and I don't know what they're used for, or why are they there. And the only thing I can come up with is at one point maybe they were thinking about putting a thumb rest, attaching a thumb rest to this, and it'd come back here. But the only other thing I could think of is, since they're maybe on both sides, something you could do would be like, if there was ever a concern about this thing, like once you tighten the bottom screw, that there may be a little play, because it's pretty tight tolerances in there. It's pretty thin. You can see a little bit of light there, but on the mount to the slide, I thought maybe these were like, you'd put screws here to sort of like make sure that it would never twist or anything like that, and it would press against the frame. But really, honestly, once you put the screw in and it tightens up, there's no wobble or any play whatsoever. So something like that really wouldn't be needed. You can also see, like right here, the screw actually presses against the edges of the screw. It doesn't push down onto the frame, just on the edges there of the circle. The other thing that's kind of a little bit interesting is, like I said, I would love it if other manufacturers made these bridge mounts for pistols, and a great one would be say like a CZ or a Shadow 2, something like that. But this will only fit on an X5, X6, X-Line pistols. And the reason why is because even though these are both Picatinny rails, the rail here, there's a lot of metal that would have to be cut out, because if you take a look at right here, you'll notice that this is a lot thicker than that there. And I'll do a little, see if you can see that up close. You can see how much thicker, or how much more there is right here for that mount to go on compared to that there. I suppose if you wanted to, you could sort of mill that out, but then again, you'd have to have the same similar front profile and everything else, and I don't even think it has that. So don't think that you can use these on anything else. They're pretty much specifically for the X5, X6 line. And I will say, if you ever see one of these, I saw one on Gunbroker quite a while ago, and it went for like 220 bucks. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a steal. I would have bought it if I had known, but I thought you go for $500-600 bucks, and that's what they usually do go for. And it is an expensive item, because you figure you're paying $500-600 bucks for the mount. Even used, they go for that. Yes, they do. And then you're paying another $500 for the aim point. So you're $1,000 just for this, which is incredibly expensive, but it does work. It works great. See, the next thing I'd like to move on to is the takedown lever. Takedown lever is nice. It's designed. You can do the grip like that. Put your thumb on it. The checkering isn't extremely sharp, and I mean, it's okay. It's probably not the greatest system out there. I'd like it if there was a little bit more of a plate up here, so if your thumb moves up or anything, you're not going to be rubbing against the slide. The other thing is, sometimes for takedown levers, you have to push up on the post on the other side to get this down, but on this one you don't. So in theory, if you were really going at it, you may push that down, and then if the slide's going back while you're pushing down, what's going to happen, I don't know. But could that happen? Probably not, but you know, you just never know. Weirder things do happen. Moving on to the trigger. The trigger on this is, you know, it's a phenomenal trigger, and I'll show you all about it here. And that's the thing, is when you look at these X-Series, you're like, oh, that's just a 226 that they just, you know, they put a little bit of a trigger on, and it's not. These guns are pretty much really different, and from the triggers, barrels, everything is just, you're not going to change anything out from a 226. Maybe the grip screws, I'm not sure about that, but that'd probably be about the only thing. Or maybe the front sight. But like I said, going back to the trigger, it has 2 adjustable screws here, pre-travel, post-travel. And if you get one of these, do your pre-travel, post-travel first, or definitely do that first, and then put the trigger where you want, because the trigger, if you have fingers that aren't so long, you may want to move the trigger back, and then the trigger will be covering the hole for your post-travel. So then you'll be moving your trigger again to dial that post-travel, and then you have to move it back to where you want it. This gun comes in there are at least 3 different triggers. So if you find one you say, I just really don't like the flat trigger, you can take the trigger off and replace it with a curved trigger, a more curved trigger, also which comes from the classic line. Or they also make a curved trigger that's skeletonized, which is kind of cool as well. The trigger breaks around 2.6 ounces. It's extremely crisp, and I'll go ahead and show that to you now. So it's cocked, and that's your take up right there. And then let's make sure you can see the hammer. So you can watch, it's going to break like glass. That's it. There's no creep whatsoever. It just goes. And the only guns I can think of, you know, there's I did a review on that Bernardelli, and it was like that. I think the Walther P88 Champion competition was like that. But almost everything else has the smallest amount of creep, which really, I'm being very critical of most of these triggers. When you're at the range, you'll never notice that creep or anything. You really won't. But this one is just, they did a really phenomenal job on it. I have to give them credit for that. Sig did a really nice job. The magazine release, of course, right here, looks like really sticks out. See if you can see that. It sticks out right there, pretty far, comes out. But it's not likely that you'll ever really hit it accidentally. Your thumb is up here. If you're doing this, you know, you kind of wonder, oh, will my palm or this part of my here hit the magazine release? But you don't even, or at least I don't even really feel it like right there. So it seems like it is out of the way, and it's fine. You won't be dropping magazines by accident. They did an excellent job of the checkering in the front strap and on the trigger guard here. It's not too sharp, but it's not too dull. I mean, it's just like, you know, the Goldilocks is just perfect. They also have a really large undercut for the trigger guard, so you can get way up on it. The dovetail also is really nice, comes out far. You're not going to get any hammer bite or anything like that. Surprisingly, the grip is not large. Some of these guns, it's a really large grip. I have large hands, and compared to some other pistols, it kind of feels a little small. I'm not saying that it's a small grip, it isn't, but compared to some other guns, it kind of feels that way. The grip here, these grips are, I'll just say, to me they look like they're plastic. And they're really nice. They have like these studs on them. They're kind of a little bit difficult to see, but sort of like you can see them there. And then they kind of hit an X logo in the grip. It's sort of camouflaged in right there. And the grips are contoured here. It's a little bit thicker here. And then on the thumb, where your thumb goes right here, it goes in a little bit, which is very, very subtle, but it is there, and it feels really nice. Let's see, what else can I tell you about it? Another thing, you can get different grips for these pistols. I do have an extra pair of wood grips. I believe these were the factory. I'm not sure if these were the factory, because this has the Mastershop Shop logo, and this is Mastershop gun. But you can get wood grips on these. If you do that, you'll have to take this off, which is no big deal. Little screw right there, that's it. You can also leave this on and get grips that are like these, that don't go all the way down. I like these, and you know, I don't have to worry about with the wood grips that I might chip or scratch or break them or something like that. It upset me. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this? These guns are expensive, like I said, but if you go online, they, I mean, I think retail of this one is like $5,000 to $6,000, which is a lot of money. I mean, you can buy a car for that, right? And I've seen a few of them sell. I think they had the skeleton slides, and they went for like over $8,000. I think it was something like that, which is, to me, I just cannot enjoy shooting a gun on a regular basis. That's, you know, $8,000. But I know some people do, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. So, but if you can find, say, an X5 or, you know, just an X6 that's been pre-owned but hasn't been shot a lot, and you may be able to get a good deal, or you may want to purchase one now is probably what I want to say, because what's happening is Sig Sauer is not manufacturing these anymore, and these actually cost more money in Europe than they do here on the secondary market for used, and these prices will probably go up quickly when people realize, hey, you know, not being manufactured anymore. It's an all steel. It's a great gun, and highly unlikely Sig Sauer USA or Sig USA will ever make them, and that's what happened in Europe. People figured out they're not making anymore. I better grab one while I can, and so the prices really bumped up on them. But a few of them I've seen sell in the States used went for very reasonable prices. So you may want to put this on your list as a must buy. And right now, everybody is looking at ARs and magazines to put as many of those as they possibly can in their basements. So, you know, you may find something that people just aren't really paying attention to right now, and it'd be a great buy. This is a very heavy gun. It's about 3 pounds. It's all steel, and that really helps also in the felt recoil and everything. Keep everything on target. The magazine is another thing that is sort of a bit of a concern, because you think, oh my gosh, it came from Germany, Sig Sauer is not producing these anymore. What's going to happen to the mags? And Megar is actually selling these mags in the States, and I think they're like 65 to 85 bucks. I really can't remember. And it has an aluminum base pad. And when you see something like that with an aluminum base pad, you think, oh, it probably holds around 20 rounds or something like that. You know, is it a +2 or something like that? This one only holds 17 rounds, which is kind of a little bit surprising, not a big deal. Yeah, Sig also offered a 25 round magazine, I believe it was, and it pretty much looked something like that, which I'm not a big fan of, that kind of look. But like I said, these Megar made them for Sig, and they sell them in the States now through their own website. So you won't have any problems getting extra mags if you need them or want them. And they're priced reasonable. In fact, I think they're priced cheaper here than they are in Europe. Pretty darn sure about that. Anyway, that's about my video. And, you know, if you see or know anything else about this gun, please, you know, leave constructive comments down below. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.